It's April 1st. I'm a bit tired from my pediatrics class in hospital today, but I really wanted to make a start. Today I read 53 pages. It's Easter holiday, so I have more than enough time to read. Also, I might be finishing my first book tomorrow. I finished reading Sex and the City. This book is definitely a bit different from the TV series. In the series, the focus is very much on Carrie, Samantha, Miranda, and Charlotte, whereas in the book, several different points of view are included from other characters as well. I think I do prefer the series, but the book was also very interesting. I read 65 pages today. On day 4, the reading mood struck me like lightning, and I managed to read 242 pages. I finished another book, Twisted Love by Huang, which I read for the first time in 2025. This book series is very enjoyable to me, except for Twisted Hate, which was too violent for my liking. All in all, I got through 168 pages today. I went to my favorite bookshop today and ended up buying a book, Emily Wilde's Encyclopaedia of Faeries, and my total page count for the day came to 62 pages. I have night shift today, so I won't have much time to read later in the evening. It's now around noon and I finished 52 pages. Day 8 was a super busy day at hospital, and when I got home I got so caught up in other things that I only managed to read 30 pages. On day 9 I really made it a priority to sit down and read after class, and this got me through 51 pages. Today is Friday the 10th of April, and I managed to start strong into the weekend with 72 pages. On Saturday I managed to read 59 pages. Sunday was not super productive, but I managed to read 50 pages on the dot. Day 13 was a typical day in my life. I went to class in hospital, then went home after seeing some patients, and I read 54 pages. And actually this brings me to a total of 1,010 pages. It is Tuesday the 14th of April, and I managed to read 55 books. And I also finished a book. I finished Emily Wilde's Encyclopaedia of Faeries, and I really enjoyed this book, although I have to say I do find the last third was not quite as strong as the first 2/3 of this book. For me, this was a 3.5 out of 5 stars, and I'm really not quite sure yet whether I should read the second part of this book series. I'm halfway through this challenge already, and so far there's only been one day where I didn't manage to read 50 pages. Today I read 58 pages, and I also started a new book. I've never read a book by an Icelandic author before, so I'm really excited for this one. On the 16th I managed to read 51 pages. On Friday the 17th I read 52 pages, and I can clearly see a pattern emerging. On the days that I have class in hospital, I tend to read a lot less. On the 18th I read 50 pages on the dot. On day 19 I read 64 pages. On day 20 I somehow managed to read 377 pages, and this was because I read Vicious by L.J. Shen, which is a very easy to get through book. I read it online and I almost finished the book. On day 21 I read 103 pages and I finished Vicious by L.J. Shen. This was a 3 out of 5 stars for me. I think I remember reading this book some years ago. Let's just say my tastes have evolved. On the 22nd of April I read 212 pages. On Thursday, the 23rd of April, I read 149 pages. It's Friday, the 24th of April, and I read 71 pages today. I also managed to finish a book, Medical Medium by Anthony William. This book deals with the health benefits that you can get from eating certain foods, so mostly fruits and vegetables. And it also touches upon what foods are disease promoting. As a medical student who's going to be a normal doctor, I don't think I can subscribe to everything that's mentioned in this book, but I think it's very valuable to learn about the health promoting benefits of food, and I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. Today I read 54 pages and also finished Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. 2 out of 5 stars. This book was not for me. The initial will they, won't they was quite intriguing, but as the book progressed it became clearer and clearer that the male protagonist is such an idiot. I read Punk 57 some years ago, and this one I enjoyed a lot more. On day 26 I was really not in the mood to read, but I managed to read 50 pages anyway. I don't know if I can find my way out. On day 28 I read 55 pages. I'm noticing that on a lot of these days I'm managing to get just above the 50-page mark. So I set myself that goal and I'm trying not to stop before I hit the 50 pages, but then I also don't have the time or capacity to read much further than that. I managed to get through 62 pages on day 29. On the 30th and last day of this challenge, I managed to read 63 pages. I did it. I read 50 pages every day for a month straight. I'm so proud of myself. This whole challenge was only possible because my study workload in April was not as high as it's going to be in May. In June I have my last medical school state exam coming up, and then I'll finally be a doctor. Anyway, I managed to read 50 or more pages on 28 days, and only on 2 days did I not meet that goal. 1,500 pages was the overall page count goal, and I managed to read 2,554 pages. That's a lot more than I usually read. I was able to finish 6 books, and I started reading 3 books. Almost finished is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I'm on page 378 out of 433 pages. This is absolutely fantastic. This is one of those books that I hesitated to buy because it was so hyped online, but I really like it. And I also really enjoyed the Netflix series about this book that I watched, I think, last year. I'm about halfway through Das Fischkonzert by Halldor Laxness. I'm reading the German translation of this Icelandic book that deals with a little boy who grows up in rural Iceland in the 20th century, and it's really interesting to learn about the way of life and the attitudes of the Icelandic people through this fictional book. And lastly, I'm more than halfway through Queen of Our Times by Robert Hartman. This is a biography of Queen Elizabeth II, and it is very rich in detail, and so it's kind of a slow read, but for me it's worth it because the topic of British royalty is really interesting to me. Thank you so much for watching this video, and let me know what you read this April.